Hey, good evening. Tonight, I want to share a message of hope, and I want to share a few stories with you. A few years ago, I had a fairly devastating injury. I ruptured both of my patellar tendons playing flag football. An interesting thing is, just before it happened, I was feeling as athletically invincible as I ever had in my entire life. I was riding a wave, having a great game, and then before I knew it, without any without any warning, my world and my body came crashing down. As a result of that, I found myself bedridden for a couple of weeks. Sorry for the picture, but that's me bedridden for about 2 weeks. Found myself in a wheelchair for about another month. And that was a huge change in my lifestyle. There was a big loss of comfort. There was loss of control. That's a loss of certainty in my situation. And instantly, I found myself in a situation where I never thought I would be, one I'd never been in before. And I knew things happened to people, but I just never ever thought that would happen to me. If you noticed in those pictures, however, you found me smiling. The reason why I was smiling was because I had hope. You see, the doctor told me that I'd have a full recovery. Even though I'd have a full recovery, I have a few scars, and it might take a year or so. Fortunately, I did get a full recovery. And not only that, I came out on the other end stronger than I was before. My legs were stronger than they had ever been. And my hope in that time was in the diagnosis given by the doctor. Well, today we find ourselves in a completely different situation, one where we never thought we'd be, one that we didn't see coming. And while we knew things happened to people, many of us felt like nothing like this would ever happen to us. Well, I can tell you now that even in the midst of that situation, I still have hope, and so can you. And the hope today might not be in a doctor's diagnosis. However, the hope today can be in Jesus Christ. You see, this time happens right around the same week of Easter. And this weekend, we're going to remember the crucifixion, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And that's a reason for hope. And you might say, well, how can we have hope in this situation? And an answer to that is because the Bible tells us so. In Deuteronomy 31:6, the Bible says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." And in this time of social distancing and isolation and stay in shelter at home, we can feel like we're alone, but God will never leave us. Psalm 146:5 says, "Blessed is he whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord his God." And 1 Peter 1:13, "Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ." So again, this weekend, we remember the death, the crucifixion, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who is our eternal hope. We don't have to hope for diagnosis from a doctor. We don't need anything temporary. And while we may lose material things, while we may lose our jobs, while we may lose some social interaction, we don't have to, but we may. We can never lose that hope that is in Jesus Christ and God, who is always with us. So my prayer for you is that you do trust, have faith, and believe in Jesus Christ, because his hope is eternal. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night.